For today's topic, I wanted to talk about how people really don't want to know the truth and why. Um, it's obvious why, but for those of you who don't realize why, I want to try to break it down for you, all right? So let me read the notes that I have here, and then I will go into my spiel. So I wrote, people don't want to hear the truth because the truth threatens their way of life. It's the reality that contradicts their fantasy. This is uncomfortable and it hurts. Of course, the truth hurts. People will deny the truth even when it's put in front of them. Someone can share their own life experience with people, proving that situations can in fact go both ways and even proving a certain outcome, but people would deny it as truth because they're more comfortable living the lie that they have been living. People are very aware of what's going on in their lives. They just choose to turn a blind eye. All right? And so, with that being said, the point that I want to make with this fact, and I'm guilty of it because you guys know that every time I share my 2 cents or my opinions about something, it's always based off of what I've actually gone through or what I have observed by others around me. And the truth is, we don't want to know the truth. I'm in that situation now where there are certain things in my life where I don't want to know. You know, I don't have to know everything about someone when I first meet them. You know, I kind of like living in denial because denial, it feels better. And that denial, that is that fantasy that I spoke of. Okay. So the fantasy is the denial. When people choose to deny certain truths, it's not that they're really stupid. It's not that they're naive. And it's not that they are not aware. They are very aware in most cases. People are very aware of what is going on in their lives and around them. They just choose to live in denial because denial feels better. All right? No one wants to face the harsh realities of truth because it hurts. And having to face the truth means that everything within your fantasy is not real. Even though we know fantasy is just fantasy, it is not real. You know, we want it to be real. And a lot of us in relationships and, you know, dealing with certain people, we are living in a fantasy. I have lived in a fantasy. I've lived in a fantasy before. I've even lived in a fantasy at one point when I was married because I'm the type of woman where I just wanted to be happy. So I wasn't one of these women that wanted my girlfriends coming back telling me things about my husband, or if someone saw him doing something, you know, I rather they not tell me so that I could continue to live in my own fantasy of what I wanted to believe my marriage was. All right. So for all of you out there who think that you're doing a good service, you have to be mindful of the type of people that you are dealing with, because some of your girlfriends, some of your homeboys, they don't want to know the truth. They want to continue living in their own fantasy, in their own denial, because it feels better. And like I said, a lot of us go through this. Like, say for instance, if you are dealing with someone that you know is dealing with other women, or, you know, dealing with, you know, other men, but you choose to ignore that. You choose to deny that that is really true. And sometimes we even make excuses for people so that we can continue to live in denial because no one wants to face the truth. The truth is very uncomfortable. It's, you know, when people tell you a truth, it disrupts your whole life, you know, and a lot of people don't want to go through that. It really does, because when you are faced with the truth, that means you have to reevaluate your whole entire life almost. You definitely have to reevaluate your situation, and now you're faced with having to sort out what it is you want to deal with, you know, what you really want, what you don't want. And, you know, you have to do all of these things that a lot of us just don't want to do. A lot of us just, like I said, we just rather choose to live in denial. Like, let me think what I want to think. Let me believe what I want to believe about this person. You know, I don't need you coming and telling me, you know, this person is this, that, and the third. Because guess what? A lot of people are in situations where that person isn't showing them, you know, who they really are. Or that person may no longer be who you know have known them to be. You know, so a lot of people, you know, feel it irrelevant for you to even run back and tell them anything, because like I always say, you give a person enough rope, they will hang themselves. And this is what a lot of people are saying to you. Let me find out on my own. If it's meant for me to know, I'll find out, you know, and be able to make my own personal judgment call about it. I'll see it with my own eyes. I'll hear it with my own 2 ears, and I'll make my decision at that time. A lot of us say, I will cross that bridge when I get to it. But again, we enjoy living in denial because, again, denial feels better. You know, doesn't it feel good to just think what you want to think about somebody who's, you know, good to you? Like, you don't want to believe that this person is an entirely different person. You know, whomever that person is in front of you, that's all you see. You don't want to find out that this person is a psycho or a sociopath or liar, compulsive liar, or a cheater, you know, a womanizer, or, you know, a thief, a criminal. You know what I mean? Like, you know, especially when you have your mind, you know, in a certain area of basically thinking what you are thinking about this person. Like, you're just like, no, this person is good. You know, this is a good person. That's what we want to believe. But sometimes facing the truth is necessary. And I don't know if some of you saw the Ted Bundy story. I saw that on Netflix. There's a story that talks about Ted Bundy, I think. And I think Zac Efron played him. I think it was Ted Bundy he played. But anyway, there's a movie based on the life of one of those serial killers. And I think it might have been Bundy. And so the harsh reality that his girlfriend had to face, in which she didn't want to face the truth, but the truth was right there. It was right there in front of her. All the evidence pointed towards the fact that her boyfriend was a serial killer. And she had to face that reality. But if you watch the movie and if you know, read up on that entire story, it took her a long time to face that reality, because to her, he was a completely different person. And that person made her feel good. Of course, she was not in love with the murderer, the guy who just brutally attacked and beat women savagely for no reason. She wasn't in love with that person, with that monster. She was in love with the Ted Bundy that showed her the better side of him, you know? And so the harsh reality that she was faced with was accepting that this beautiful man, you know, this gorgeous man, this very smart, intelligent man, this man that plays with her daughter, cares for her daughter, loves her daughter, is in fact a serial killer. Imagine that. Imagine having to face that type of truth. You people think you're facing truths. Imagine having to deal with something like that. I'd rather, if I had to choose with having to find out if my mate is a serial killer or gay, I think I'd choose having to find out if he's gay, because it would devastate me to know that I had slept with someone who could just brutally and savagely murder somebody. That's a harsh reality that I do not ever want to face. I mean, nor did I ever want to face having to, you know, as a heterosexual woman, you know, having to face some of the truths that a lot of women have had to face with finding out that their husbands and their boyfriends are gay. That's another harsh reality that a lot of women are now right now, as I speak, suffering with. They don't want to deal with that. They don't want to have to accept that. So they continue to live in denial. They say, hey, he doesn't act gay around me, so I'm not going to believe this, you know. So these women are going to be faced one day with the harsh reality, and they're going to have to learn and find out the hard way. And I can imagine the devastation. But that is just the way things are. So when you see people living certain lifestyles, and you know they're going about their life dealing with certain people that you on the outside just can't seem to figure out why. Like, why is she dealing with this person when she knows this person is involved with somebody else? Or why is he in love with her when he knows that she is not a good person? He knows she doesn't care for his children. She's a horrible woman. Guess what? That person is in denial of the truth of who that individual is. And then a lot of people, and I've been there, you know, are in denial of the fact that someone is involved with someone else and that it is actually going good, because it's hard to believe that someone is happy at home when they're entertaining someone on the outside. So those are other truths that people are faced with dealing with. And then it could go both ways, because like I stated, people have proven that, you know, some of these situations can in fact go both ways, but because again, we choose to live in denial, because denial feels better. Denial feels good. Denial is comforting. Denial is warm. Denial allows us to do whatever it is we want to do without any guilt, without any remorse. It makes us feel good. That's what denial does. The truth does the opposite. The truth hurts. The truth makes us have to face the reality of the situation. And the reality is, everything that we believe this situation to be is not true. It's not true. One day he will leave. One day she will leave. You know, one day they will get married. But we live in denial, hoping that they'll divorce, hoping that they'll break up, you know, hoping that the worst happens. And that gives us a sense of comfortness. And that's what keeps us in situations that we have no business being in. I was there. I was one of these people. Okay, so I can relate, and I completely understand even what I'm saying, because I've been there and done that. It's just denial that keeps us holding on. Denial keeps us in love. But when we face the reality and we really be honest with ourselves, I mean, really face the reality of our situations and stop lying to ourselves, put away the denial, tell yourself the truth. That is when you are going to be able to let go of a situation that you have been struggling for so long to let go. You have to face the reality, and the reality is the truth. You have to tell yourself the truth. You have to ask yourself questions about the situation, and you have to answer truthfully. Do not answer a question with the denial state of mind, telling yourself, oh, no, it could go this way, it could go that way. No, forget about the shoulda, woulda, coulda. What is it now? What does it look like now? What is the situation now? What is going on now? Is he doing right by you? Is she doing right by you? Do they provide for you? Do they look after you? Are they concerned? You know, forget about what they could possibly do in the future. Yeah, everybody has good intentions. We all have good intentions, but looking at someone's good intentions and looking at what they could possibly do, that's looking at things through denial. Okay, you have to look at things for the reality of what it is. What are they doing for you lately? What have they done for you lately? What are they doing now? What makes it worth it? And if you can't answer that question, listing a number of things that is worth you staying in that situation, then I would advise you to get out, because you're wasting your time. Listen, I wasted my years in a similar situation, and I can tell you it's a waste. You'd be better off just dealing with somebody who is doing more for you, who is showing you more, giving you more, putting in time with you, okay? Making sacrifices, taking risks. Those are the type of people that, for me, is worth it, all right? But this is why we choose to live in denial, because the truth hurts. All right, you guys, make sure you keep it locked right here, Miss Ross Radio on WMRR Radio, and I will be right back after the break. Also, if you missed the second half of the show, you can always watch the replay on our Facebook page at WMRR on Air. Also, you can watch directly on our website at www.wmrronair.com. All right, keep it locked.